Shy/introverted people of Reddit, what is the furthest you've ever gone to avoid human interaction? I went on a 3-week camping trip to avoid 2 family reunions. Getting off the bus at the wrong stop and walking because I pressed the stop button too soon and didn't want to tell the driver. First year of college, did it multiple times. People seem to commonly do this in a deliberate way. The bus drivers are used to it and probably for the most part just ignore such foolery. Or what happened with me and the bus driver eventually just knows to stop at your stop. I was working a lot of evening shifts and getting on the bus at 9:30-10 p.m. and was usually one of the last people on the bus when my stops came up. The first few months I had a hard time telling where my stop was, exactly, so I kept getting off at the wrong stop. I guess the driver must have started noticing where I was getting off and then suddenly he's pulling in and wishing me a good night or reminding me that this was my stop. I just rolled with it. Here's your stop, have a good night Kicker 18. Actually, my stop is the next one, I said get the duck off my bus. We're talking about socially awkward people here, so it's really, here's your stop. This isn't actually my stop, I just accidentally got off here once and didn't want to get back on out of awkwardness, thanks, you too. Duck my life. Here's your stop. Thanks, you too. Proceeds to mull over botched social interaction for entire walk to actual stop. In 7th grade I would hide in the science lab during lunch and recess time and feed and play with the school pets. I would ask to use the bathroom around 10 minutes into lunch and then come back in the last 2 minutes. They probably thought I had some real bad bowel issues. They were 2 birds, a bunny, and 2 guinea pigs. I would feed them carrots and talk to them. Nobody knew that I was there for half of the year. When one of my teachers finally walked in on me I thought I was busted. Luckily she was one of the nicer ones and made it my official job to play with and feed the animals. #X200B, #X200B. The postman was knocking on my door, so rather than answer it, I decided to army crawl past the door, so he wouldn't see me through the frosted glass. Then he pushed open the letterbox, and saw me splayed across the floor. Hid under a bed while a real estate agent showed a couple around my flat. Couldn't be bothered to go out but can't stand small talk, so decided to lay low. I had a cup of tea, cushions, a Nokia with snake on it. I was quite happy under there. They were 25 minutes late. I guess I was under the bed for just over an hour. I feared a sneeze. I was in my early 20s. Edit, wow, this went big. Thanks for the gold, kind anonymous benefactor. Enjoy your weekends, folks, and be sure to keep your breathing, sneezing and flatulence under control if you try this at home. I once spent a weekend in a hotel because I just wanted to be alone and chill, reading books and watching TV. The people I lived with at the time couldn't spend more than an hour on their own with some sort of social interaction. The roomie I have now is like-minded and we can go days without seeing each other and it's great. Best friend I ever had. We still never talk sometimes. You know you have a great friend when the silence is not uncomfortable. Edit, my most upvoted comment is really meaningful to me. Cool. Every time I feel awkward about not speaking with a person I remember that it's only awkward if you decide it's awkward. Works like a charm. Not sure about other side, but well, it's not me who feel awkward. The it's only awkward if you want it to be mindset makes pretty much anything social easier. You let yourself have so much more fun. I went to an empty room and stood in the dark for 45 minutes to avoid a team bonding event. Team bonding is the absolute worst for an introvert. And icebreakers. Just the word icebreaker gives me PTSD. Alright everybody. Pair up. I always feel bad for the person who has to work with me, because they almost definitely didn't choose this voluntarily. I just awkwardly hide in a corner until all pairs are formed and then wait for someone to ask if anyone's left. I really don't like this kind of forced teamwork. Lived in a loft downtown on the 3rd floor. The amount of times I used the stairs in effort to not being trapped on an elevator with a stranger is too many to count. One time there was a family moving in. I walked all the way around the building to the opposite side's entrance to get into the building. Then they were using the elevators, so I took the stairs, then they were on my floor moving shit in. I didn't want it to look like I was trying this hard to avoid them, so I said, whoops. Wrong floor and walked up 2 extra floors and waited 10 minutes before going back down to see if they were gone. What should have taken me 5 minutes took me close to 30 to get in my apartment. That's when I realized I might have a problem. My roommate threw a party at my house and I hid from everyone. There's only one front door and everyone would see me if I left and would want to talk to me. I avoided eating that whole night because I didn't want to walk by the party to get food. My car was trapped between other cars. I ended up jumping out of a second-story window and walking 3 miles to a 7-Eleven. Lol, but when you got back the party was over? Since I told my roommate to tell everyone at the party I was out with other friends, when I walked back from 7-Eleven I came through the front door so it really looked like I was never home. Actually got away with it. Then I hit the yawn it's been a long night, bye and went straight to my room. There was only a front door in the place I was living and there was a very large crowd of neighbors outside having some sort of social gathering or something. I really needed to pick up some food for dinner, but really didn't want to interact with them. So I jumped out the living room window, walked the long way around the neighborhood to get to the store. Thankfully they kept the party out front so that when I came back I could sneak back in through the window. I failed an important test once because I was too scared to ask the teacher for a pencil. I peed on myself in 4th grade because I was too scared to ask. Only cool kids pee themselves, you know. Okay, Miles Davis. Going through the drive-thru just to park and eat alone in my car. Yes. I do this a lot. Or even if I have to pick the food up, I will take it to my car and find a spot away from everyone where I can eat in peace. Lol, yup. I just can't handle the noise and humans. I just want to sit in my car in peace and watch YouTube. Rather than associate with my nosy aunt when I lived with her, I told her I was going out for a while, moved my car up the street, and sat in it watching Netflix on my phone for a couple hours. Edit spelling. When I was 12, a man in a suit I didn't know knocked on the door. I could see him through the front room window so I hid behind the chair. Looked up to see if he had gone, made eye contact. Stayed where I was. Wasn't the last time it happened. I never answer the door unless I'm expecting someone. Just today actually, my neighbor was knocking on my door this morning and I didn't answer. When it was time to head to work I realized I didn't have my keys. I think my neighbor found them and was trying to return them. Edit, added a little more to the above and included an update below. Update, sure enough, I left my keys in the door last night and my neighbor was nice enough to try to return them. But since I never answer my door, he took them to the front office. Let this be a lesson to my fellow introverts. Don't leave your keys in your door. Also, thank you for the PMS. I ignore knocks on my door too for the most part, but that's because my upstairs neighbor will walk in when I open the door, then proceed to ducking stay and talk for a fucking hour even if I'm in the middle of dinner. I read this elsewhere on Reddit. When you answer the door, have a jacket in your hand. Then, if you don't want to talk to whomever it was, just throw on your jacket and act like you're leaving so they'll go away. If you do want to talk to the person, like that happens, you can just hang the coat up and act like you just got home. I'm not as shy and introverted as I used to be, but now I have moods where I do not even want to see a single person until the mood has passed. When I was living in dorms in college, I would stand in my closet or bathroom for hours just so I wouldn't have to see the people talking in my room. I ended up hearing a lot of conversations I shouldn't have heard because nobody ever knew I was there. Lol. You can always tell a Milford man. Edit, wow, my first gold, thanks. I wear headphones all the time. Even if they're off, not plugged in. I'm so much more productive at work, people at the gym let me be, and people on the street leave me alone on my walk home. I do that and people still bug me. ESP on the train, people will wave in front of my face to get my attention to usually ask for directions. I was standing in between train carriages a few weeks back. There were no seats left in the area I was standing in was really busy. Full of people. So started reading a book to avoid conversation and eye contact. Minding my own business, you know. Random guy gets on after about 10 minutes and starts talking to me. He picks me out of the whole damn carriage. I was the only one reading. He wants to know what the book is about initially and then wants a conversation about films, music and more. Ducking nightmare journey. If I'm with headphones and someone bothers me for social interaction, I always just act really confused and out of it, as if they woke me up from profound concentration. It sends the message. Don't smile or be courteous, just be curt and make it clear that all you want is to get back to the thing you were doing.